Hi, good evening. Welcome to first of our Navigating Life series for 2024. We appreciate the fact that you are with us and are extremely grateful that you have decided to come and spend time with us this evening as we explore stock taking. As you can see from the screen, you might guess that I am Trevor E.S. Smith, and I will be hosting the session along with my partner in crime, Brother Allen Casey. But let's put something in context. Let me stop this share and move to another share, which I thought I had up. 1 second. Okay, so here we go. Close out some of these things. And this is the one we want. And right. So I wanted to just alert you that these sessions, these Navigating Life sessions, are part of the outreach of the St. Andrew Church of Christ. And we also have the grief therapy sessions. That would be the last Saturday in each month, and the first Saturday in each month we have Navigating Life. And the Navigating Life series, it's about trying to help people, yes, to address issues as they navigate through life, right? And so we have been doing this series pre-COVID, actually. So it's many years now that we have been doing it. We used to do it every Saturday, actually. Just want to alert you then that these sessions, the Navigating Life series, or sermons and Bible classes, we do not share the grief therapy on YouTube, because we want people to be open and feel more comfortable, have a safe space. But the other content is available at on our channels, Simply Christians with the S, Simply Christians JA, on YouTube, also on Facebook, it's there. And also you can go to our website, standrewchurchofchrist.org/media. We meet at 77 Red Hills Road, and we have worship services at 9 a.m. And we have a Bible class, or we have several Bible classes immediately after. And then we also have our midweek Bible class, which is on a Tuesday at 6:30 using the same Zoom link. I'm sorry, but I'm in the middle of my sneezing. My family knows that this time of the year. That's it. It's the season for sneezing. Okay, so we want to alert you as to who facilitates this issue. Brother Andre has been a Christian for many more years. He still needs to be updated, and he's a counseling psychologist, one of the foremost psychologists in our land. And as I say, I'm Trevor Smith. So before we go along, I'm not sure if Brother Andre is micable. If you could just lead us in a quick word of prayer, that would be helpful.
Let us pray. Our Father and King, we are thankful to you for your blessings. We are thankful, oh God, that you have given us this time and space to join with our Nav Live series. We are thankful for those persons that are on. We pray that we'll have more support, but more importantly, oh God, even as it relates to our subject matter that will be led by Trevor Smith, we ask you, oh God, that you will bless him and bless us even as we participate and listen, that we will garner as much information as possible, that indeed it will make our lives the richer for it. We ask you to guide again this proceeding and watch over all of us as we give you thanks. And again, giving you thanks for another year. This is our prayer we ask through Christ our Lord and Savior. And amen.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, let's get the show on the road. All right, want to say to you that as we go through this, please feel free to provide insights. You can ask questions as well. What we have put together here is a session to, I'm going to use balance sheet to guide us through this exercise. And so we want to look at assets and liabilities. And basically, that's the idea. Right? And as we look at the positives in our lives, which we're going to call assets in this tonight, using that as an analogy. And as we look at our challenges, which we want to call liabilities, the exercise has the potential to be transformative, right? And so I suggest you, I would invite you to take this seriously as we go through the process. I would even suggest, I don't know, we have different modes of taking notes now, whether it is pen and paper. So I'm actually going to pause for a minute so that you can get something to write with, or you can use an iPad or telephone, whatever it is that you want to use. But I believe that the examination that we want to go through, the process that we want to go through, could be transformative if you take it seriously. And I hope that you wouldn't come and spend your time and not take it seriously. And of course, as we indicated in the introduction, this session is currently being streamcast, livecast to YouTube. So you should be able to access it on YouTube afterwards. So assuming that you are ready now with document in hand. So we want to look at different areas. And as we said, we're using the approach to say, okay, we want to look at this as an asset. And we want to ask you then questions related to these domains, these key areas of your life, to see where are you, where are we? That's the whole idea. And having done the stock taking, which basically that's what we're doing, we want to review where we are. Are we better off this year as against last year? Where are we in the big scheme of things as we seek to go forward? That's the exercise. So I want to start with health and wellness. And it's going to be a series of questions. It's going to be actually 5 questions, try to narrow it down to 5 questions related to the assets. And then we're going to look at 5 questions related to the liabilities. So it only makes sense if this is interactive. If, you know, I'm not saying to you, come on, you know, open out all your life before us, but you can as well. But at least let us have some discourse as to how this could be helpful. What does it mean? Is there another perspective that you have on it? Please open up your mic. If everybody is on the mic at the same time, then we might start to ask you to raise your hand, right? So the first question is, are you ensuring an appropriate balance between work and the physical exercise and mental well-being? That's the point. You know, are you taking care of yourself then, or is it just work? Focusing on, you know, earning, but what about your mental, physical well-being? That's a question. And how would it be an asset? It would be an asset if you are in fact ensuring balance, if you are in fact taking care of yourself, even though you are working hard and making progress in your career and earning wealth. So that's a question. So we're going to pause a little bit, and if someone wants to jump in and to say, okay, fine, that's, you know, this is a useful analysis, and here are some other points that you want to build around it. But that's the approach for tonight. right? So that it becomes useful, more useful to you. So the first thing then we want to look at is what's happening in our life. When we look at 2023, how have we spent our time? Have we spent our time, not 9 to 5, but 6 to 12? And really and truly, we have neglected our bodies. We have neglected our, we want to talk about relationships afterwards, but also mentally, we are burnt out. It's a question, right? And then what about sleep? Increasingly, as I mentioned to you, I'm sneezing, right? So please, what role does sleep play? The mental, the health people tell you that you really need, 8 hours. Many adults have a challenge, finding a slot for 8 hours. But sometimes, you find that when you get a good night's rest, you're far more productive the day after. Yeah. And of course, it's going to be healthy. So the issue is, are we burning the candle at both ends? Are we seriously looking to get help? Many people are now coming out to say that sleep is medicine. Sleep is medicine. So let's see how we can actually get more sleep into our days. And if you have been sleeping well and getting many hours in, then that's an asset. You're ending the year in a very good position. Yeah. And what about your diet? How is that helping you or causing problems in terms of your wellness goals? Yeah. Holidays, we eat a lot more and a lot more cake and whatever. But that's just now. What about throughout the year? Is it junk food or is it healthy food? If somebody comes and mentions vegetables, do you immediately run? Or is that a part of your diet? Yeah. And then stress. Stress is a killer, definitely. Brother Andre can speak more to that. But are we managing the stress in our lives? Stressors will come, yes, but we have to look at how we manage them, yes. So the fifth one is then, what about mindfulness? Are we being in the moment at, different times so that we are able to positively navigate through every situation? Or are we really kind of stressed out and overdoing? When I say overdoing, exaggerating every situation. How balanced and how steady are we in dealing with issues that arise? So I'm going to pause here, get some comments in, right? If somebody, anybody, please. What are your thoughts on this set of analysis, set of questions? Does this open up for you any questions? Is this helpful? When I was doing this, I had issues as well. I looked at my, some of the areas in which my dietary choices were definitely not aligned with my goals. Yeah. I think that my stress management has improved, I think. All right. So, that's what I'm saying. I just want you to look at that. Yeah. Sharon says helpful, speak to areas we should focus on. Thank you. So, yeah. Anybody else? If you want to mic up, you can. Yeah. The other area for me, and when it comes to some other areas I can't speak of, but I have really been working on the sleep aspect, because I'm understanding that the sleep is really important. And so I have really narrow down on that to say, let me work hard to organize myself that I get the right amount of sleep. All right. So Anne says she has a challenge with sleep. Let's talk a little bit about that, Anne. Is it that you're not falling asleep, or is it that you're not allocating the time? In other words, are you, if you know, it's two different things. If you have a challenge going off to sleep, then that's another matter. You might need other guidance on that. But are we talking about allocating the time? Because if it is about the time, one of the things that I've done is to try to go to bed the same time. That is the ultimate thing. Or you try to sleep but not sleeping, okay, that's another issue. I'm not sure that we have the time to deal with that, but yeah, but that's something that I think we should look at. Get some advice on that. I'm not sure, Andre, if that is within you. Not now, but whether that is something that you work with. Yeah. So that's a different issue. And I know that people suffer from that and have that issue, right? All right. So the question is, how do you maintain balance when you're pulled in so many areas? Work alone, responsibility, parents, all the time. I know. Let me tell you the strategy that I have embraced. And it is, we can't complete life in one day, right? So some things are going to have to be left until another time. And so that's basically what it is. I understand. I've gone through parents and grandparents, you know, being a parent and grandparents. So I know like prep and school and whatever it is, all of those challenges plus the work. So that, what we have to do though is that we can't fix everything in one day. And so allocate time. I am getting to a place, as a matter of fact, I did a live cast on Thursday night for LinkedIn. And one of the things that we were looking at is the whole idea of muscle memory, the time when you get into routine. You know, if you're thinking about tying your shoelace, you don't think about it, it just happens, right? And it's because of habits, because you have actually veiled yourself that this is happening. You're putting on a blouse, you're not thinking about it, but it's on. That's what we need to do now, is to work at developing habits. The more routinized our life becomes in important areas, the better we are going to be in able to deal with things that are important. So if we can sleep the same time, if we can do things the same time, and if we can develop a routine around it, the neuroscience people tell you that if you do the stuff, some people are saying like from 67 days or 66 days. Easy to me, just say 3 months, you know, you keep on working at the thing for 3 months, it's going to become a habit. And so that's basically what it is. If you see 11 o'clock and you're not in your bed, stop whatever you're doing, go to your bed. That's what I'm saying to you. If you're going into your bed and you're tossing and turning and thinking about the work, try and think about other things. Yeah. Memorize some scripture passages and take it to sleep. That's what I'm saying to you. Is get into a routine. And the more routinized, it sounds crazy because people are telling you now to be resilient and to be interruptive and creative. Yeah, but I'm saying you can bring that creativity into a routine as well. Yeah. So that's the first suggestion. Hope that kind of helps. But see if you can build systems and routines into how you go about your time. All right. What are some of the liabilities there? If we can move on. All right. So, so somebody in chat, let me look at that. That sounds crazy. It sounds very practical. Yeah, creating a routine. It actually works. I can tell you that for a fact. Just get into the routine, right? And the discipline makes a difference. Yeah? So So are there patterns of unhealthy stress management in your life? You know, are you blowing things out of proportion? You know, why I can't pay the rent? You know, are they going to kick me out of the, you know, the house? And I can see my furniture on the street. Yeah, no, it might happen, but wait until it happens. And not wait until it happens, but don't get too excited and blow things out of proportion. Just deal with what it is in the moment. Right now, I have expenses that I can pay right now. Yeah? Yes, that's an issue, but let us see. And some of the things that we have to look at is, have we been there before? And what happened? Remember that many times before when you saw the furniture being carted away? Uh, did it happen? No, it didn't. We found a way. So we also have to look back at our successes to see when a crisis, when we saw this mega crisis coming, and then now we can look back and smile and to say, well, you know, it really didn't come, or it came, and we manage it. So look at the practices that we're having in our lives in terms of stress management. How are we dealing with incoming information? How are we processing that information? Because that's the key. Yeah. If we process the information in the wrong ways, then it's going to cause problems. So the processing that when we get information, that filter is critical. If we filter it incorrectly, we're going to have problems. The best thing to do is to try to work to a situation where you just be factual. What is it that has happened or is happening? What is it? Don't color it either way. So, no, man, it's foolish. It's not a thing going to happen to me. No, that's not it either. What is it that has happened? That's it. This is a fact of life. Then let us move forward from there. Yeah. I want to pause right there a little bit because this is a tricky one where people are saying, yeah, but I have the history. I mean, I'm not naive. It's not the first time this is happening. I can see it. You know, some people love to be able to predict and tell you, man, not, you know, you can't run anything past me. I know what is going on. So can we share a little bit about this? Because this is a potential liability that's going to affect us going forward. How do we process information that's coming in? Are we overly pessimistic or overly optimistic? Pause in there again. Brother Andre, I'm looking to you as well, you know.
Well, I was just saying here that amazingly, and I'm going to just say what I'm saying quickly and come on. But everything that you have here, by the way, you know, somebody was saying they can't sleep. Everything that you have here, the introspective health and wellness liability question, everything, I never said something, I said everything you have here. Literally, if we don't get it right, we're not in sleep. Even the exercise, you know, it is proven that those who exercise regularly sleep better than those who have a sedentary lifestyle, so to speak. So I'm saying everything you have right here. I'm just going to come back off and make you continue. But so even if you can't sleep, I'm just saying, folks, you do these things, we get these things right, and you sleep like a baby.
Okay, all right. Sister Sandra, that's a tough question. Let me see. How do we change how we process information? I think, how do we process it more positively? Do we fake it till we can make it? I don't have a problem with faking it until we can make it. If you want to call it that, there might be more positive ways of looking at it, which is that we're training ourselves to process the information differently. Yeah, so initially we haven't got it. If you think about a child, or you think about if you're riding a bicycle, whatever it is, you're not going to master it initially. So are we faking it until we make it? Maybe. So fine. I don't mind using that as long as we understand that it's a learning process. So for me, well, I suppose I've trained myself for a long enough time now to not get freaked out when information is coming in. But I think I don't have any data, right? So please don't ask me for the data. But from my experience, people tend to look at the negative. They have a negative expectation for when they're processing information. Yes? So watching the news and somebody broke into a house. And immediately we start to wonder about whether they're going to come into our house now. And we're not so, we build a story around it. The one that I use in workshops and when I share it here is you get a message. The boss wants to see you. And many people have to go to the bathroom. They have to wonder what it is that they do now. Nobody says, yes, finally, the promotion that I have been waiting on. Yes. How many of us do that? Somebody would say, but I work with the boss long enough, so I know that. Anytime he calls me, it's a problem. Yeah, I hear. But what I'm just saying to you is that there's a propensity to go to the negative. And all I'm just saying is that create another script. Create another script. Something has happened. Give thanks. Yeah, okay, it's a learning experience. I think that this is going to work out. I know that's the sort of thing. Instead of looking at how bad this is going to be and what are the implications and how are we going to fix all of these things that happen as a result of it. Nobody go down that road. It's a wasted energy. And once you're doing that, there are all sorts of hormones that you're putting off that are not helping you. More cortisol in your brain, you cannot think clearly, right? So that's where I'm suggesting that you create a new script, right? I suggested watch. You are what you eat. It's a docu-series. Okay, it complements this webinar. Thank you, Tani. All right, all right. So, Sandra, I don't know if that helps you, but that's the idea. The idea is create a different script. Create a script where, like they say, the movies, the star boy or the star person doesn't get killed. So create that kind of script, right? Don't kill him from the first screen, session, we call it, scene, right? So that's the idea. Okay, let's just go forward here. So that's the stress management part. That is huge, though. That is huge because that could really determine our trajectory. It's going to determine how we shape our lives. Stress is an important factor, determinant of how we process life. And it has major health implications. All right. So the bad habits, hopefully you're not smoking or you're doing, other kinds of unhealthy practices. What list there might be of these, but look at what it is that you're doing. Right? And let us be bold and talk about it. That maybe the company you're keeping is are some bad choices. Yeah. And it not necessarily mean that you're a part of a criminal gang, but it could be that you're spending too much time with people who are negative. Yeah. I kind of hold my head. It's especially like during COVID, there was a situation where, take up your phone and people telling you what they need, how many more persons are have caught it and how many died. And I didn't want to know that. What's the point? It's not helping me. I want positive information. Right? How do we deal with crippling and overwhelming fear? That's can ask some hard questions. Crippling and overwhelming fear. That's Andre Allen Casey kind of question. What are you fearful of? That's the first question that I would ask in my little layman's word. Because the corny thing, well, it's not corny, I think it's helpful. False evidence appearing real. So what are you fearful of? What are the odds that it will happen? Those are some of the things that we have to look at, right? And I'm a perfect example of it. You know, I had that fearful, crippling fear of dogs, and absolutely on sound ground, I will tell you, because I was walking down the road and Oakland Avenue and a dog just run out and bite me. Don't never say hello, nothing, no bark, it just come out and bite. And so whatever. But then I realized that I don't know, it's not real. I mean, I can deal with it. 100 stories now about times I've heard the story of trying to come back up my road. I've been, going for exercise and realized that I have to go to a meeting. And there are two, it's not two, the neighbor had what, three other big dogs, right? And he left them out and they were in the road and I had to pass. And I went back down the road and I came back up and figured that they're going to go in at some point in time. And then the third time, I decided, okay, fine, I'm going to make it this time. I don't care if they bite me and kill me. And then I'm coming up and a man on a motorbike comes down. Of course, the dog started. Go back down. And then finally I said, no, all right, fine. This is it, life or death. And I walked past them and the dogs didn't even look at me. So I'm just saying that sometimes you have to challenge the fear. Sometimes you have to challenge the fear. Yeah. Because it might not really be as crippling as you think. So I paid some money and I went to a Tony Robbins event. And in going to the events, you saw them building up a fire, literally coals, burning coals and so on. And in the advertisement, you saw something like, walk on coals, hot coals, pay that in mind because, that's not you. Until the day came where you're supposed to go and walk on the hot coals and ramp you up, and then everybody had to walk, close, everybody close, so you can't even step back, really. Going into it and boom, you walk across. Not a thing happened to you. So I'm just saying to you that sometimes the appearance of reality of harm and all sorts of things going to happen to you, it might not be what you think, and there is a way out. I don't know if that helps you based on my limited thing. I don't know, Brother Andre, if you want to step in, please.
Well, crippling fear oftentimes is associated with personality, paranoid personality disorder, or even anxiety. Those two disorders oftentimes are associated with crippling fears. And so, so it is what you run ahead into your mind about what can happen, could happen. And so because you speak about the negative possibilities, then really and truly you're not even going to broach any kind of attempt to overcome it, because you have already not only made in your own assessment that this must happen and this is how it's going to happen. But oftentimes is anxiety. So you're either responding to one of the three F's, fight, flight, fright, and flight. I've said it already, and fight and all those. So some of these F's are what we are oftentimes responding to. And then we have made them now a part of how we function, literally. And so because we listen to them rather than having a conversation to see if it is real, if it is something that I'm going to allow to interfere with how I go forward, then and we have settled that it is so without doing the proper investigation, or we have settled that our lives will not move forward, and as a result of that, then what we would have done is reinforce the fears. So the fact that I'm not going to even challenge it, I would have now reinforced the fears. Even if the fear is real, then the next step is what can I do to protect myself from bringing myself any further harm or any harm at all if the fear is real. And so if you'd have done something to protect yourself, then that real fear is not a bad thing. because so it's not something that you say, okay, if I hear a gunshot, I'm not going to be afraid again, just go down there. No, it's a real fear that can bring a self-harm because you would have done the pros and cons where this is concerned. Then protecting yourself is not something bad you have done. It's not that you're afraid of your fears anymore, or the fears are now crippling, but you would have done something that will save your life from this real fear. What if that can help?
Thank you, Brother Andre. I don't know if that works. Brother David, does that help? Okay. All right, cool. All right, so yeah, so thanks for the questions and insights. I think I'm being helped here. So the specific health habits, again, is this something that is conscious, that is, you're proactively, you have a plan. That's it. If you don't have a plan and you're just going through, I think that's a liability. I think in today's world, there's enough advice around and enough support, guidance with respect to health that we should follow, because it's pretty expensive if we don't. For years people were talking about the smoking thing, and then when you look at it and you see the lungs and you understand all of the things that the COPD that comes, it's pretty costly. And so we have enough information now, and even from the little ones, get them into the habit of doing healthy stuff. Yes, I know the devices are there, but get them out of the couch as well. They will get some activity. Yeah. Right. So, the fourth one is the same idea. When we look back, are there negative things that's happening to us in terms of what we're eating, when we're not, what we're doing, how we're managing stress, all of those things. We need to just review and to see. So the whole question then is, are we taking care of ourselves? We have a temple and we need to keep it in good condition. That's it. Unless there's someone else, I'm happy to look at that. So let us move to another one. Spiritual status. Review this. Yeah. So, do you have a strong sense of purpose and a firm connection with God? No apologies. I say that I take off my hat to people who are going through this difficult life without a connection, without an anchor, without a faith. It's amazing how I love the bucketry that I have. And I know some people might say, well, man, it's just foolishness, but it's all right. I hold on to the foolishness because it helps me to kind of navigate. But I'm just saying how you can just go on without that is just you against the world, you against the tide, you out there just by yourself against all of the forces. Man, trust me. So there's an asset, that you can add, if you don't have a connection. As an asset, believe you me, that firm faith, that's guiding faith, that's reliable, bucketed, like you have a big brother, but this is, you can go to school, and I think if you happen to step on a man's clock at school and you have a bigger brother that's bad, I don't think you can get beaten to near death. Trust me. The guy would probably just say, Trevor, you never really mean it, man. It's just like an accident, right? So that's it. That's what we have, going forward. And so the other question is, what about the practice now, the daily practice? Are we living lives that are aligned to our beliefs and our values? If that is the case, man, that's a powerful asset. That's a powerful asset. So you're not living in remorse and always worried about your status, spiritual status, because you're actually living it in practical terms. So Yvonne says, I have a connection with God. Yes, it could be very, very strong, but still do not know my purpose after all these years. But Yvonne, trust me, that is an eternal question also about purpose. I can always tell you that I know as well. It seems to be sometimes a moving goalpost, but fear God, keep his commandments. That is the simplest one. And if you have that one as the foundation, then anything else is okay. But in terms of whether it should be a carpenter or a plumber or whatever, I'm not so sure about that part. But definitely fearing God and keeping his commandments, that to me works. So here, Yvonne, I know I can't help you really with that purpose question, because I think I certainly struggle with it in terms of saying, what is it? And different times in my life, I think that, okay, fine, maybe it's in that direction, maybe, it's in another direction. I don't know if anybody has the answer, a solution, quick formula, or not even a quick formula, but some solution as to how to identify what your purpose is. Please, beg you, sure. It would help me and help others, definitely. Oops, sorry. Oops. I was offered a decent position when I wasn't ready for work again. But I took it, not wanting to kick or give horse anymore. Still wondering if God sent it. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing. We don't know, whether, okay, fine, maybe this is a message from God to say, yeah, this is really what it is, because otherwise, we don't know. I put it this way, I don't know. I got many of those kinds of messages, suddenly a door opens and you say, oh yeah, finally, yeah, maybe this is it. Or maybe a door closes and say, no, maybe that. I don't know. I don't know. Anybody knows? Anybody has clarity as to nailing down purpose? Or anybody here is clear about the purpose? Apart from what I mentioned, in terms of saying, working with God, fearing God and keeping his commandments. Going beyond that now in terms of like profession and, how you spend your time. That's the part of it that I find challenging. Yeah.
I have, I don't know what I'm about to say.
Say it.
I know, all right, again, get myself in problem. That's for sure. I do believe that free will has a lot to do also. If the Bible said, if you sow to the flesh again, reap the whirlwind. So I do believe that by and large, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he will direct your path. I do believe that there are some passages that reminds us that if we stay with God, then we have a better outcome. Like I said, if you sow to the flesh, again, reap the whirlwind. You sow to the spirit, what the benefits. And so all I'm just kind of saying here is that now, as it relates to a person's profession, you're right, you don't know. I mean, Paul was a tent maker. It didn't stop him, however, from subjecting himself to what God will have him to do. I have two other commands. The greatest command is love God, and the second one is likened unto it, love mankind, love your neighbor as yourself. If you want to talk about a purpose, maybe not in terms of job, but as far as your own spirituality is concerned, then let us obey the two greatest commands. And the Bible did identify them as the greatest command. So when we can obey everything else, maybe we should even start with those two, since it identified them as the two greatest commands. The second is likened unto it, love neighbor as thyself. And so I do believe that once we have good relationships with people, then irrespective of the situations that we encounter, it will it may work out a little bit better because everything starts with relational and secondly situational. But the situations can work out better if we start with good relations. We have good jobs and everything, our demeanor, how we conduct ourselves, good relations, because I love God and love mankind. And so no matter where I am and what position I have or what kind of job I'm executing, then satisfying love, at least I'll be an example of how people must behave in these positions.
Thanks, boss. I see Fion. Go ahead, Fion.
Good evening, everyone. For myself, I found that taking the time to assist someone, volunteer, just doing something for someone other than myself, that fills me with a sense of purpose. I hope that helps.
Yeah, for sure. It does. Thanks. Yeah, and it's aligned with what Brother Andre was saying as well, in that, you know, love God, love man, you know, makes a difference as well. So the other thing now, we're looking at also the question of, if we have an asset, are we using it? So if we are connected, if we have the faith, are we actively using the faith? Some of these things you have to do, you have to get yourself in trouble for it to work. So let us say that I have strong faith. I really believe that I have the good connection with God, and that God is going to, you know, deal with, you know, continue to bless me. I'm out of a job. What do I do? Do I sit and wait for, like, you know, something to happen, somebody to come and, you know, give me the job? Or do I settle down and, you know, do a proper search and send out proper applications? And when I get an interview, I go with the backing, that knowing that, you know, when I'm going there on the basis of my faith, which will say to me, if this is the job for me, you know, let me interview these people, you know, rather than the interview. Let me find out if this is the right space for me, in terms of their values, their ethics, etc. All of those kinds of things. So I'm just saying to you, how is our faith being manifested as we navigate through life? Are we using it to grow? Are we using it to be fulfilled? Or are we afraid to ask? Ask, seek, knock. Are we calling upon these things? Or are we just saying, boy, like, things rough, you know, not going for me? Or there's an opportunity. Let me ask, let me seek, let me knock. Those are questions that I'm saying, what are we doing with the assets that we have? Yeah. And then question here, the big number 4. Rat race, treadmill, going. Are we who still in that rat race, maintaining principles? You know, that's it. Can we discharge our responsibilities and still maintain our values, our faith? Or is there a disconnect? In which case, something has to give, and I hope that you're not giving up the faith and the principles. But yeah, there are times when there are problems. You know, you might work with an organization that's not ethical, that's asking you to do fraudulent things and to, you know, lie and so on. In which case, what do you do? Do you continue then, or do you say, no, this is not possible? Huh? And then in the hurly-burly, in all of this turmoil and so on, can you find a little space? Can you find a little space by a passage, maybe a song, where in the middle of the crisis, this passage comes and immediately it stills your soul. You feel a sense of peace. Yeah. Or in terms of joy, we're going through some studies, with respect to joy. Is there some way that you can be in a state of being joyful while there seems to be chaos all around? Those are some of the things. And if you have that going for you, that's a powerful asset as you start taking. And if some of this is missing, this is your opportunity in 2024 to address this, because it makes a huge difference. You want to be in a position where when somebody comes and says, but what happened to you? Oh, how come you're not freaking out? You don't know what is it? You must be stupid. Yeah, well, I'm stupid, brother, because there's a deeper, I have another connection, a deeper understanding of what's happening here. Yeah. So, ice water through your veins, possible? Yeah, depends on your level of faith and how you process information coming in. That's something that's there. Rambling again, stop, let's go. Any comments on that? Or is this kind of pipe dream? Oh, all right. Let's step it forward. What are the spiritual status liabilities? Straight question. When I was doing this, I couldn't water it down. It just come straight to the point. Yeah. Have you followed God's plan for your salvation? In other words, is there a sense that hope of salvation, that's underpinning, that's there, you can hold on to that? That's a big question. Yeah, I have that. Well, believe you me, Yvonne, I've been working on this stock taking thing. This is amusing. I suppose tomorrow morning people will hear the same story. So I wrote a newsletter last week, wrote another one this week. I had a live cast on LinkedIn and whatever it is, Thursday night. I'm doing this now. And that Jeremiah passage is in one of the presentations somewhere there. Yeah, I have a plan. And it's not to harm you, want to give you a future and hope. That's mighty. That's powerful. That's something that we could hang our hat on all the time. Yeah. I like the Psalm 2, Psalm 34, that talks about, that many are the affliction of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. That's beautiful in the sense that if you have that, okay, I'm backed up in a corner, but there are possibilities. So yeah, so the opposite of that now is that I'm out there on my own. I don't have any backative. Yeah. So what is it? I go to the doctor. The doctor diagnosed me with a condition. Death is a possibility. Is that going to be even more stressful for me? Or do I understand that death is a part of life? And, part of what I've been doing is preparing for it. There's a difference. And then what about the disconnect? I have no idea about it, but I just wonder if people who are living lives that are unethical, knowingly lying or stealing or murdering, if you want to go there, but definitely no values. Are there points in time where they feel the disconnect between the other side, or are they completely free? Is there a conscience still? I don't know if anybody has any idea on that, whether there are politicians, for example, who absolutely knowing it's lie straight up and say the lie continuously? Is there a point where there's a lying down and they're saying, yeah, this is not so right, or there might be a price to pay for this, or I don't know, is there something pricking at the conscience? I don't know. But I suspect that there is value in walking in the light and having a values-driven life. That you really have to look over your shoulder all the time to find out, if somebody has uncovered one of these steps. Yeah. And then walking the talk. Yeah. So I got walking the talk. Then are we, we profess this, we say we are ambassadors for Christ. Are we living that? Can somebody look at our actions and think, yes, that is the case? Or is that not the case? So that's one of the things. And if we are consistently out of alignment with our spiritual values, then that's a liability. That's a problem. That's going to cause conflict, internal conflict. It's going to be a problem. Pressure and guilt, all sorts of those things are going to be consistently at your doorstep. What about specific situations or environments that challenge your spiritual alignment? Do we place ourselves there or find ourselves there? Yeah. So, yeah, we like to play dart or whatever, dominoes or wherever it is. And the place that seem to have the best players have a lot of drinking, drunken, what sort of thing is that? An ideal place for us? That's the question that we have. Again, we go back to the job. Tough questions when you have to feed your baby. To say, this job, is exposing me to an environment that runs counter to my beliefs. Yeah, questions. All right. And then growth. This is a genuine one that we have to consider. I grapple with this one all the time. Am I growing spiritually, at a pace that I should be growing? To what extent is my foundation, my spiritual foundation, being built upon day by day, hour by hour? That's a question that we have to look at. So even though we are there, even though we're still, connected and, worshiping and whatever it is there a deeper level of growth that's available that we should be pursuing at least? That's a question. Comments here? Questions, comments, feedback? It's a tough one, actually. This one actually goes to the heart of where we will spend eternity and so on. So these are questions that are there. And it's a more challenging introspection because it has implications for our future, deep-seated implications for our future. I don't see any hands or hear any voices. So let me look at financials. Right. Some people breathe a sigh of relief now. Come into my domain now, Brother Andre. So some basic questions, and these are would see that your financial state is really in asset mode as against liability mode. It would be things like that you have some more emergency money, that if a crisis comes up, you have something that a source that you can go to say, well, okay, I can get through this, or some kind of a saving. It's a lot of talk and easy to say, but some people are challenged. They can't talk about save. Anyway, that's not the matter. All right, so Sandra is saying, are there specific questions that we should ask ourselves to determine, assess whether we are growing spiritually? Tough question. I don't know. Let's work on some together. Let's work on some together. I would suggest that your investment in Bible study could be one. And yeah, that would be one. And the extent to which you are internalizing this or being able to remember what it is that you study, that could help. Then I would want to look at Christ and to see to what extent are we better able to manifest some of his qualities, or what it is, his behaviors. Love, Brother Andre mentioned, that kind of how Christ-like are we in relating to others, even people that we don't know, even when you're processing information. To what extent are we condemning behaviors as against maybe having a more open mind to what's happening and not condemning, but rather trying to see if we can understand where that person is coming from or where they are. So those are some of the things that I would say, the extent to which we are willing to be kind, yeah, to be generous. So those are some of the things that I would say. Look at the qualities that are recommended in the scriptures and to see the extent to which we are demonstrating those. That's my little quick response. I'm open. Andre,
yeah.
please.
I mean, a big one for me, is the same love thing. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, 4-7. Literally every day, I measure what the verses says in comparison to what I'm doing, the experiences that I'm having, the interactions that I'm having, and whether or not I am demonstrating in my thinking and operating those what the passage says, whether or not I am demonstrating or observing, and whatever the passage says. So if it's a love is kind, then I know that. Then I have to look at what I'm doing. And by the way, the measurement of kindness is not tit for tat. It's not. The Bible said, if you do good to those who do good to you, what reward have ye? So you don't have any reward. And so the reward only comes if somebody has done you wrong, but you are prepared to do with them right. In other words, a person's bad behavior did not dictate your response. And so I do believe that everything in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, from verse 4-7 especially, gives us a template on how we can measure whether or not we are growing, what we are doing, especially if we can juxtapose it against so the scripture says this, and this is now my experience. So I'm confronted with somebody being unkind to me, and yet the Bible says I must be kind. So look at how I'm going to now be kind. Must not take an account of evil. So what are the kind of conversations I'm having with other folks about other people? So people do me wrong, and as soon as we go home, we sit around the dinner table and I talk about the wrong that the persons have done to me. And so I've not given myself an opportunity to demonstrate what the passage says. Actually, I'm going according to my negative experience and not putting the passage into practice. So that is what I'm just saying is a method one of the methods that can be utilized.
Thank you, boss. Yes, I agree, 100%. All right, so Yvonne suggests that by our conversations and actions, can others tell that we are Christians? In other words, if we are growing spiritually, then it should be obvious to those who are looking on. For example, she's saying, what happens when we are bad driven? How do we react to the bad driver? Yeah. And for me, I think the key here would be not just what we express, but also what is happening in the thought process. Let me tell you, let me tell you the challenge that I'm having is the management of the thoughts, management of thoughts. So I'm not acted, I have not said anything, but I want to get the thought right. That to me is a mega challenge then. That if you can get, so it comes back again to the whole idea of processing the information, processing what's coming in. If you could just actually find a way to think the right thoughts at the right time, every time, that is, yeah, that's spiritual growth. Huh? So it's not a question, I know that the thought has come and somehow because of your discipline, you don't actually say it or you don't actually do it. It's not even there. Oh, what a mighty thing that would be. It doesn't even come to you. So I wanted to spend a minute there because teleprompter, go back to that whole idea that when you see the politicians reading off these things, they're actually reading from a prompt, right? So basically, that's what's happening inside of us, is that our past practices and all sorts of different things create in us prompts, that the subconscious is coming up with these prompts. Trevor say this, Trevor do that, whatever it is. Now, depending on how well you have trained the prompters, they're going to be sending you information. They're lazy. They do not want to write a prompt that you're not using. So they only are going to give you prompts that you like. So if you are giving, asking me what I want to eat, etc., the prompter is not going to say, ask them for okra. No, I'm not going to ask for okra. So don't want to waste my time. That's how you have to train. So ultimately, the key is to so train your prompters that they give you things that are aligned with your values, aligned with your aspirations, aligned with your faith. That's the key, man. That they don't give you something, go and kill this person, or go and steal this, or go and just think, them saying they don't give you things that are outside of what you ought to be doing. But guess what? Based on your past, based on the things that you used to think, based on how you used to behave, some of those things are still there. So the prompters who are working with you from early days are still bringing up those prompts. Lost now, do this now, do that now. And that's where the problem is. I have to clean up that act now. Yeah. All right. Strange thoughts that come in these dialogues. Okay. So we were these emergency funds, and yeah, so that you have some kind of, they call it a nest egg. I know some people are challenged in terms of being able to just exist, equal an existence, let alone have a nest egg. Something to work on. And then the question of short-term, long-term. Yeah, are we killing off ourselves now so that we have, something in the future? Or are we, gorging now and then have nothing in the future? Those are questions that we have to ask. I hope nobody's asking me about this because that's my skill here. Okay, thank you. All right, read it out, Brother Andre.
Passage that says, whatsoever things, the same thing that you were talking about, how we can just retrain our minds, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are godly, whatsoever things are just, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. And just the passage. Right.
Yeah, man, thanks. Right. So Tanik says, I endorse what Brother Andre is saying. Yes, assessing our spiritual growth by how well we apply the principles of different scriptures on a daily basis. Also, your prayers are they surface level or have they grown? Good question. One strategy that I'm using as a measure of my spiritual growth is journaling my prayers. That's an interesting concept. Yeah. What are we praying for? Are we going over the same thing over the time? Yeah. So sometimes you have what we call the besetting sin and challenges, but also what kind of dialogue are we having with God? Yeah. Are we getting into deeper things? And that's a question. Good point. All right. So budgeting, how good are we at that? Are we managing this? Some people have discovered honestly. And that's a powerful thing because it lays a foundation for many things. Whatever we want to say, financial resources, wealth makes a difference. And you know, sometimes you read the Second Corinthians passage that speaks about, you know, the whole question I was giving, but they don't talk about the fact that you can be blessed. You know, the person who provides the thing will bless you so that you can bless others, and that they will have the glory go to them, go to God. So that's part of it. Are we seriously contemplating situations in which we could create wealth, you know, build wealth, not for our own comfort only, but also so that we can impact lives? Yeah. Any questions, comments in that? I'd love to have some input there. Is there a responsibility on our part to use our talents, to use whatever it is that God has blessed us with, to convert that into wealth so that we can not only take care of ourselves, but that we can actually support the work of the church, support others, be, you know, philanthropists. Again, stopping the shot here and seeking some wise insights. So my probing question is?
There's a passage that comes to my mind.
Okay, cool.
I don't remember where it is from. I think it's, I don't remember where it is from. It's found, I think it's in Ephesians. I don't remember Ephesians 1. But the verse says, to him that stole, let him steal no more. Rather let him labor that which is good. Labor with his hand that which is good, so that he may have to give to those that are in need. So I'm just saying to you, what you just said a while ago, there's a specific command in Ephesians that says that you may have what to do, what to give to those who are in need. So you can't give if you don't have, but you have to labor so that you can get in order to give.
Thanks, boss. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Speaking to the responsibility to, yeah, use the talent. Well, that's, you know, the part of the talent also go there. You know, are we, so what are we talking about? If we have that talent that we can learn, are we able to just not be willing to learn and then say, okay, fine, we can't earn because we don't know how to do these things? Are there no jobs for me because I haven't learned? We have a talent, we have a brain, and we can learn. Anyway, I don't want to go down that, you know, a rabbit hole of negativity. All I'm just saying to you that there's a possibility, there's a responsibility in terms of financial need, that it shouldn't be a burden on the church or the state or on family, etc. And if we are in a position where that is happening, then wonderful. Right? That's an asset. All right. Ephesians 4:28. All right. So there we go. Maybe some practices that manage money, manage wealth effectively. That's an asset, big asset. All right. Where are we, by the way? Whoops. Hold on. All right. Our time. I thought you would have had to stretch this for one session. Ugh. Okay. All right. So what about the other side now? The liabilities. What have I done? Oh, it's still at the assets. So the liability. Huh? Okay, right, here we go. Unmanageable debt, expenses beyond what we can deal with. Those are challenges. Those are liabilities. By the sweat of your brow, answer right, shall impaired. Absolutely. Yeah. So are you burdened by unmanageable debt? That's unfortunately sometimes some of the decisions that are made, sometimes not our fault, or we could, got caught in traps, etc. Situations that not fully our fault. But if that is where you are, then that's a liability. That's a challenge that has to be dealt with. Planning. I of the view that we need to bring the financial planning to the young ones. I'm talking about children, young children. Teach them money management, teach them wealth building, teach them financial planning from an early stage, so that they have a better understanding of what it is. So that, for example, you go to the supermarket, it's not everything that, or even you see toys, that everything is a situation. Or, daddy has to do something, but you want daddy to come and play. Yeah, I understand that mix, but sometimes you see that toy that you want, that's why daddy has to go now to a meeting or so. I'm just saying, just let them get to a place where they can better understand the dynamics of money and how things work and where the money comes from. What are the challenges? So I think I'm talking, my parents kept things away from me, but in terms of, you never ever felt that there's a crisis that everything went tumble down now. I don't think that we kept a secret with our children. I think we knew the problems that we were having at every time, and I think it has helped. So that's something that we can address and to look at to see, should we share more, and even within, outside of the family, do we, get help if we are in problems? The spending, what is it about that as the money comes in, goes out, because there's no, gratification, immediate gratification takes over as against planning for the future. So are there habits that we are developing or have developed that's crippling us, in terms of our wealth building? Sharon says COVID and its impact on economies, the resulting increased cost of living has depleted investment values, affected many persons worldwide. Yeah, this has affected finances. Definitely. That was a bad period in terms of, well, for some people, for people like Zoom and some of the people that made masks and so on, there's a boom for them. But generally, I think overall, so much for planning. Yeah, but I think it's important that we still plan. And that's a segue really to a question about resilience. Then resilience, it clearly can be in this session. Andre, it looks like I can't believe that there would be a part two to this, because I really just have, I think, personal relationships, and sort of summarize the thing. But we're out of time.
Part two it is.
Okay, but we cannot out of time. But I want to talk about resilience, though, in terms of some persons. All right, let me just read this verse. Everyone says, I agree we should share more information with children from an early age, not to scare them, but to give them an understanding of bills and liabilities. Absolutely, yeah. And also, if I can just add in, how wealth is built, what is it? So you might see how people build wealth from different perspectives, not necessarily just a job or whatever it is, but those are possibilities as well to open your mind. And that's where I was going in terms of this whole question of If you're planning, things like this could happen, disruption could take place and you're knocked out. That's the whole idea of resilience. So how can we build resilience into our existence so that it might mean then not reliance on an entry-level job, for example, because anything happen, retrenchment, and you're out. So it's a big question because there's a sense of focus and laser focus and wanting that there's value in that. I hear it, but then again, what COVID and similar situations point to is that's high risk as well. In that you could be in an industry that's impacted. Let us say you're in entertainment industry, and nobody can come out, for a year, 18 months. That's a crisis. So diversity is a question. But are you distracted then? Are you, splitting yourself too thin? What is it that we do? Those are questions that are there that are, we don't have the time to answer at this point in time, but it's something for us to look at as well, to see how resilient is your financial base? Yeah. Can it withstand a shock? And from what directions can shocks come? And how can you find ways to mitigate against those potential risks? We have to leave it there, unfortunately. I want to thank you for your time with us today. So the first Saturday in February, we will continue our look at stock taking. Just to remind you quickly that these sessions, NAV Live sessions, take place, what is happening here? What's going on with this thing? Come on, share screen. I don't know. All right, I'll leave it there. I'm trying to, okay, finally, man. Sometimes Zoom is a pain in the neck. See, it's gone up again. All right. Okay, that's why. All right, so just to give you quick insight, these sessions are brought to you by the St. Andrew Church of Christ, and the sessions are available on YouTube, Simply Christians JA, and on Facebook as well. Simply Christians, we look for the S, right? There's a Simply Christian JA, that's not the right thing. And we worship at 77 Redis Road, 9 o'clock. We have a Bible class immediately after that. We worship on Tuesday. We have a Bible study on Tuesday. Very interesting study right now at 6:30 using the very same link. And there is access to worship and the Bible class using the same Zoom link. And remember, we also have our grief therapy session last Saturday in each month. The grief therapy, first Saturday in each month. Navigating life. Seeing a moment there. So thank you for your time, and we look forward to sharing with you again. Bye. All right. Can I get in touch with you personally? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I shouldn't have read it. All right. I got on late. Would you be doing a part two of yes, we will definitely be doing a part two. I'd like to know how to manage my finance. That's Brother Andre. Assistant and go and start a small business. All right. Whoa. All right. So that's a challenge. We can look at that to see how it goes. All right. So yes. Any last words? Any last, Brother Andre, you have any questions, comments?
All is well. Looking forward for next month. But the financial thing, I think we might need to go back on that and speak a little bit because that,
Yeah.
and explore some more aspects of that. I think that would be quite interesting, but,
Yeah.
talk about the
Yeah.
same resilience and even give folks ideas,
Yeah,
and
man.
maybe options about, diversity and
Definitely.
diversifying. Mhm.
Yeah, man. Definitely. All right. Thank you. Let me go and attend to. Thanks very much.